Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. On this day, many years ago, the Concorde took its last flight. Now, for those of you who are not old enough to remember the Concorde, basically it was an aeroplane with some advanced features. It was a supersonic jet which could travel faster than the speed of sound. And it was known for its luxury to take people around the world in a very short space of time. It was one of the fastest ways to travel between America and the UK. It reduced the flight time quite significantly. New York to London, for example, took 3.5 hours. Paris to New York was also 3.5 hours compared to the 8 hours of today. London to Paris took just 1 hour, and New York to Barbados in 4 hours. So the question then is, why did this very unique way of flying around the world come to an end? Well, I think it was something to do with the technology, which was quite old at the time. And also, it probably wasn't so environmentally friendly. But it had a very unique noise. If the Concorde was around, you would have known about it because you would have heard it. Even though it was flying higher than usual planes, it made a much louder noise. Very interesting, very interesting. So it took its last flight on the 25th of November. I can't remember the exact year. I believe it was the 1990s. I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to the Concorde because I love reading and learning about these things. An anorak is someone who's full of weird information about some topic which really is of no importance. So I can say I'm a bit of an anorak regarding aeroplanes. I think everybody is a bit of an anorak about something. For example, I'm also a complete anorak with hovercraft. I love the hovercraft. And if I could choose to travel in one particular way, I definitely would choose the hovercraft. That's the one that floats above the ground on an air cushion, which is generated by the craft itself. And they were very common here to take us between the mainland and the islands. But to be honest, we don't really see them very often now. But there is a hovercraft museum near Southampton, and there's a lot of hovercrafts there. I'm not sure where the Concorde Museum is. I think Britain had 7 or 8 Concordes. I know one of them sits outside Heathrow Airport. If you're driving into it, or if you're on the bus leaving the airport, you'll see one of them. A very, very famous Concorde sits there, and it's much smaller than you would expect. You know, it doesn't look like the kind of aircraft that we have today. It was quite tiny, you know, very small, very small. Anyway, getting back to the hovercrafts, let's look at some adjectives that would describe the hovercraft. Okay, so versatile, because it's able to operate over both land and water surfaces. That's why the military still use them. You know, they can easily travel over mud and grass. Because it's designed to operate in both land and water, it's called amphibious. Amphibious, with an M, amphibious. Certainly innovative, utilizing unique technology to travel on that cushion of air. Oh, I love the hovercraft. Honestly, if I could be on a hovercraft right now, I would be on one. I'm sure they have them in your country, although they're not very popular now. But oh, they were great things. Dynamic, yeah. Flexible, another two there. So flexible is capable of navigating various terrains, mud, grass, probably concrete as well, water. Dynamic, energetic in movement and capability. Unconventional. Well, that's certainly true. I mean, that's why I love the hovercraft. It's so different from other vehicles because it doesn't follow any traditional vehicle design. The last time I was on a hovercraft, I can't remember when that was. I was on a boat recently that looked like a hovercraft, but it wasn't, and I was kind of disappointed. Of course, they hover, so that's another way of describing them. Maneuverable, able to be steered or directed with ease. Practical, useful for various applications, including rescue and transport. Oh, I have to say it again. I mean, I really love the hovercraft. Really, it's something amazing, and I don't know why I'm not in one making this podcast. Unique, distinctive in design and operation compared to other vehicles. Efficient, effective in performing its intended purpose with minimal waste. So there we are. And if you want some adjectives to describe the Concords, well, we've already used the word supersonic because it could reach speeds other things couldn't. Innovative, it had advanced technology. Sleek, oh, very sleek, yeah, very streamlined, very professional, yeah. Fast, known for its high-speed travel capabilities. Luxurious, of course. Iconic, pioneering, being among the first in its field to take people in a supersonic way. Efficient, you know what that means, I'm sure. Elegant, it was definitely aesthetically pleasing and revolutionary because it changed the way we thought about airlines. Yeah, and of course, strong. Oh, by the way, speaking of strong, today is also the day that Margaret Thatcher resigned from power in 1990. Now, there was a strong woman, Margaret Thatcher. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, around here, some people still have photographs they bring out of her to burn publicly, whereas in the south, around London, many people see her as a hero. And yes, whatever your view of her, I never quite forgave her for the Broadcasting Act of 1990, which, among other things, allowed regional accents on TV and radio. Yes, she was the Prime Minister when I was a teenager, and there was a lot of strong feeling about her at that time. She died in one of the hotels in London. I'm sure she died in the Ritz because she had dementia and she started giving away secrets to the media about her time in power. And the government had to quickly get a law that would stop the media listening to her because she kept calling them up and giving them secrets. So they passed a law, those kinds of laws which silence people, they're called gagging orders. So they passed a gagging order so that she wouldn't be able to speak to the media. And then eventually she was moved to the Ritz, I think, and that's where she spent her final years. Many politicians do that, they end their days in some of the poshest hotels. I think the Ritz has some very large suites and very large apartments in there. That's the big hotel, which is near Piccadilly, if you're in London. So there we are. A few strong things. The Concorde, the hovercraft. The Concorde took its last flight on this day. The hovercraft, I was just telling you about that because it's my favorite. And Margaret Thatcher, because she resigned on this day in 1990. Oh, and by the way, John F. Kennedy was shot on this day as well. If anyone's interested, that was a big moment in history in the past. So that's another day to remember. So lots of things on this day. And I'm sure there's many others as well. Didn't Angela Merkel come to power around this time? I think let me check. Oh yeah, on this day, Angela Merkel became the Chancellor as well. Yeah. Very interesting. All these strong leaders. My grandmother, she loved strong leaders. I remember her saying that I think it was Boris Yeltsin she saw on TV, and she said, "Oh, Boris Yeltsin, a fine-looking man." My mother was the same. She had a thing for Saddam Hussein. "Oh, a fine-looking man, Saddam Hussein," she used to say. Maybe that's where they got some of their ideas from when they were running the home. I don't know, but anyway, there we are. So that's it from me today. Hope you've enjoyed this. Let's talk again soon. Oh, and if you do have a hovercraft museum, do visit. Really amazing things. See you. Bye.